Some people are like, no. Okay, come on, humor me. Could we do a little more music? I know that's not on the script and stuff, but Sean said we go off script. Can we do a little music? Do you guys want to sing? Who wants to sing? We need beatbox. Where's Sean? Okay, no music. Good, got it, guys. Sorry. Okay. Improv. Turn to one or two people and tell them your favorite meal or dessert. Your favorite meal or dessert. Not your name, we don't care. Meal or dessert. Go. Okay, fantastic. All right, bring it back. Bring it back. Come on back. Finish that thought, and that thought, and that thought, and that one. Okay, good job. I'm like, can I see people here? Did you learn something about somebody in here that was life-changing in that moment, just right now? I don't want to be too deep because, how many of you feel like you've had so much content today, you're like, ah. She's like, yes, can I please go take a nap for the love of God? All right, have a seat, you guys. I just wanted you to wake up a little bit because Sean's like, okay, we're going to relax right now. I'm going to take you on a little journey. No, he didn't really do that. But that is dangerous to do in the afternoon, is it not? So I love the topic of leadership, but if you ask 10 different people about leadership, what are you going to get? Yes, you guys are smart. You've been to the conference. Yeah, there's so many different angles. And the truth is all of us could give a little mini TED Talk on leadership, right? From our experiences, our strengths, the way we were raised, how we think about it. And if you know what a people addict I am, I'd be like, I would sit down with each one of you and hear that story. I literally, side note, doesn't really matter, but I had a therapist one time tell me I'm in a session. Anybody else do therapy? Just me? Okay, fantastic. 4 people and me. It's good. But I was talking to him and he was like, I snort, you guys. I snort. Okay. And he says to me, hey, well, I don't think he said that, but Sheli, you're addicted to people. And I was like, I know, right? He goes, no, I mean, clinically. You're either with people or you're reading about real people or, you're studying real people. I'm like, right? And I think he acted concerned about this. I thought it was the greatest compliment ever. But I have so enjoyed meeting a bunch of you. This team, these humans are really cool. How many of you have been to I shouldn't say the word meeting. People hate meetings. An event, shall we say, or a conference or something where you feel like the humans on the stage weren't being very real? Anybody? Is it a little bit of a turnoff? So one of the cool things has been we got here yesterday, most of us, and we were able to, you kind of do a dress rehearsal, but it's just like, hey, how's it going? And, we walk up here and feel it out a little bit, go to dinner. And what's really cool about everybody on this crew is they're all really real. These are people that care about impact, that care about people, and they're the same people, off the stage if you're having coffee with them as they are on it. I love that. I think it's really powerful. But I want to talk today about servant achievers. A lot of people say servant leaders, and I love that. I want to talk about servant achievers because I kind of have had to balance my achiever. I can be a bit of a workaholic, and I really had to learn how to balance that with, why do I work so hard? I want the impact. And one of the things I've also noticed about coaching people, I've done a lot of consulting, a lot of people when they call themselves servant leaders, they almost end up being martyrs for that cause. It's like, I'm a servant leader, I'm like, I'm a mom, and then I'm serving at church, and then I run this nonprofit, and then I still have to work on the side, and you're going, wow, that's a lot. And so sometimes I feel like in our culture, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, we kind of associate servant leaders with being so selfless that they kind of throw themselves away in the process. Does that make sense? Have you ever known anybody like that? Have you ever been like that? Anyone? Got one. Yeah, so I don't want to make it sound sexy to like become a martyr, because if you burn yourself out, you're no good to anybody, including you and your family, right? So I love the idea of servant achievers. And I find that, like, I've consulted people with just crazy amounts of money. Like, literally, they could burn it for heat and just last forever. And it's like, I'd like to try that and see how that would feel. That's kind of fun. But some of them are unfulfilled because it's not money. Money is one thing we call success, right? It's one measurement. It's one resource. But we have time, talent, treasure, and influence. So when you think about giving, first of all, I just want to challenge you that giving looks like a lot of things. It's giving what you have in that moment, right where you are with what you've got. It doesn't have to look like somebody else. And you don't have to give. Like, not every cause is our cause, and that's okay. So leaning into the things that we really care about. I do kind of want to talk about the what's next of leadership, and this is only my opinion, so just give you permission, and you already know this, to like take what works, leave what doesn't, or filter it to fit you, right, your life. If I say a word that you're like, just change the word out. I don't like what I call bumper sticker life coaching, and I'll explain that. So we've really gotten into personal growth in our culture, right? We're like all these I love mantras, but I don't like the ones that I don't think work. I think some of them are like, that doesn't even make any sense, right? Do you guys, anybody in here want to shout one out that you're like, yeah, this one? What's that? YOLO. Young professionals are like, you can't use YOLO, that's dumb. Do you guys know what YOLO is? You only live once? She's like, no, that's not motivating to me at all. Bumper sticker, like life coaching or mantras. Some of them are great. I love, like, I am enough. When Sean said that, I'm like, yes, because most people don't. We either feel like we're too much or not enough all the time. True? And I can relate. Too much or not enough? When are we just right? I think that's why I do a conference every year in Boise. We're having it this year in October, and that's the theme of our conference, is I am enough. Because whether you don't believe that at all, but you want to, or whether you believe that, but you want to even get healthier with that mindset, or whether you're kind of there and you want to mentor somebody else and help them up, I love that. I'll give you a few I don't love, though. Are you guys ready? Sometimes I like to learn about what is going to be successful by learning what I'm like, that's dumb, that doesn't work. Okay, here's my favorite. I'm sorry if this is a bumper sticker on your car. If this is a bumper sticker on your car, I'm sorry. Live a fearless life. Okay, here's my problem with that. Have you ever met a human that led a fearless life? You have? You're like going like this. She's like, I'm not going to answer you, so you quit looking at me. Yeah, you. Oh, I'm just nodding and giving you encouragement. What's your name? Natasha, you're so cute. She's like, I'm like, you have? Who says live a... No. So live a fearless life. Who does that? I don't do that. I'm afraid all the time. Like, I do big things. I put myself out. I come up here, right? Like, I'm going to say something really stupid, and you guys are like, right? It's exposure. Where there's exposure, there's risk. You better be afraid, or you're not paying attention. I don't like that one. I think it's dumb. Also, by the way, fear's not always bad. Quit making fear a bad thing. I get afraid sometimes that my kids are in danger. Be afraid. Pay attention, right? Maybe I'm afraid because I've watched too many TV shows, but like, I don't want to bungee jump. One time I saw reverse bungee jump. Have you ever seen that? People are so bored. I don't know. Like, they were holding her on the ground, and then they're like, let's try it, let's reverse engineer this. And they were like, bam! And she's like, psh! And her head bashes into the thing you're supposed to jump off of. Do something every day that scares you. This is my other favorite. I bet she was scared. Do something every day that scares you. And I'm like, here's the thing. I do. I wake up like I walk out of my house, right? Has it been a little scary the last year? I go on Facebook. That's scary, right? And just if I take chances in my business, geez, if I launch a new marketing campaign, that's scary. I don't know if it's going to work. Even the marketing experts don't know if it's going to work because you have to just try it. I don't like that one. It's all about the grind. That's another one. I know, some people love that word grind. To me, it's like it has dentist connotations to me, you know. There was that really creepy dude when I was in college and we were dancing and I'm like, you know, like, yeah, it's all about the grind. You got to get up at 4 a.m. every day and you got to grind. And I'm like, no. No, I'm going to draw a boundary on that whole deal, you know? How about if I work hard? How'd that be? Is that, you know, like sometimes we make it sexy to just throw our life away to something. You know, it's like, no, you don't get to sleep. You don't get to be with your family. No, you got to be good at everything. Well, you're never going to be good at everything. So you better have an amazing network like the people in this room, right? There's some things we're going to suck at because we're just not as good as somebody that's amazing at that, somebody that's called to that. We need our community. I was getting ready this morning, and this song comes on. I'm trying to listen to like an inspirational music list, and it was really good until this song comes on. I wish I could remember the melody. I'd sing it, but it was "Ain't Nothing That a Beer Can't Fix." Now, you guys, we listen to this music, right? And our kids listen to this music over and over and over and over again. Ain't nothing that a beer can't fix. Okay, I can think of a ton of things a beer can't fix. Am I right? And all the self-medication is because we hear all these things. I'm supposed to be fearless. I'm supposed to grind all the time. I'm supposed to be selfless and be a servant leader that never promotes my business or myself because that sounds cocky and everything. Like all these things. And at least people going, how do I do that? Live a fearless life. You've just now given somebody a goal they will never accomplish. Congratulations. Yeah, that's the disempowering model, by the way. That's not empowering. Not really. I mean, if you're just using it to get yourself all fired up, sometimes we just say stupid things. You ever seen athletes before? And they're just like being weird, slapping each other, and they're saying weird things. And it's like, it's more like a cult thing. But like out of the locker room or whatever, that stuff doesn't work on the street. So just think about it. When you're hearing, the music or somebody else go, yeah, do this, or, and people give us their universal truths, like, well, this totally works for me, get up at 4 a.m., and you're like, oh my gosh, I would kill people if I got up at 4 a.m., right? You've got to find things and listen to a lot of people and decide what works for me. And sometimes you can take something and modify it and make it your own. These blanket statements of this is what success looks like. It doesn't always land. And then we think that there's something wrong with us. Then we think we're too much or we're not enough. I want to know, this isn't in my notes, I just am having a thought here. I want to know, is there anyone here that would be willing to share, like, moving forward, what's a big question you have? Like, whether it's around mindset or business or personal growth. I'm going to talk a little bit about personal growth too. What is something that you're like, man, I really want to know? Maybe it's around networking. Maybe it's around social media. I don't know. What is it? Anybody want to be like, put yourself out there? Yeah. Oh, I love it. Mm-hmm. What do you do? A dog trainer? Oh my gosh, I need one of those actually, but I'm in Boise. Dang it. My dog jumps up and he's bad, and I'm not the one to be his, breakthrough buddy. I've just decided. So what is the biggest thing that you find gets in your way? You're talking to me. I'm your prospective client. Like, yes, I need help. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, therein lies the problem because there's other dog trainers, right? Now, if you were doing something super specific and niche-y that I couldn't find somewhere else, maybe that would work. But it's always that, why you? I mean, you're adorable and you're smiling, and I'm like, she may be great. But it is kind of unpacking that. A lot of times you hear people say, find out your why, blah, 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 all of that, and it's true. But what I find is a lot of people have a hard time articulating it. Like you may actually feel it in your gut, but saying, when somebody asks you, what do you do? What do you say? Right. Here's the challenge. There's a gajillion dog trainers, but you're special. And you actually know that you are, but they don't know it. So we take those first 3, 5, 10 seconds and we kind of ruin it by saying something that makes us sound like everybody else. Here's a different way of looking at it. I want you guys to think about this. So I'm a speaker, right? Well, in the age of social media, people pop a video on there of whatever, and they're like, yeah, I'm an international speaker. I'm like, you live streamed putting on magnetic lashes in your bathroom. Like, you're not okay, you're a speaker, it's fine. Are you a paid speaker, though? Are you a paid speaker? That's different. But it sounds so generic, right? It just sounds like here's this huge pool of people. So what if ask me what I do? You know what I love? My favorite thing? I do a few different things. My favorite thing is I love to take people that are great humans like you, and I love to help them find their strengths. But to do that, we've got to break down the obstacles, the challenges, even the dragons, so that they can expand into the fullness of who I believe God's called them to be on this planet. Now, what do I do? It doesn't matter. There's a lot of vehicles to get there, right? But does that set me apart from another speaker? Well, I'm a speaker, and I put lashes on in my bathroom, and I'm an influencer, right? And you're like, yeah, okay, sure. Because we've all gotten real during COVID, right? One of the cool things, how many of us lived through the recession? Because I know there's some youngins in the room. Yeah, there's 3 of us, perfect. I'm not alone, it's fine. And it feels like, it's not necessarily true, but it feels like everything gets smashed overnight, right? Culture shock, because culture shock is when almost everything that you do and think about and experience in your day-to-day, whatever, it all changes. And we just had it happen again, didn't we? Change shock. If you Google it, it's change shock and culture shock are the same. And it's a real thing. That's not just something we say, that's a real thing. And all the 7 stages of grief, there's now 7 instead of 5. They keep getting, there's more of them now. There's all these stages of grief that we experience with loss. So that's the hard part. You guys want the good news? Awesome. 2 of you, and I'll take it. I don't need much. This is what I've learned. I don't need that much. It's fine. The good news is it burns off all of that nonsense. It burns off all the noise and all the things that you think you need and whatever. And you start getting down to the nuts and bolts of, have you thought about this even more in the last year? Who am I? What do I really want? How am I going to keep doing the things and is the whole planet going to blow up? I mean, I've asked myself those questions too, but it's like, what's important to me? What do I want the rest of my life to look like? Right? Good news, I've come this far. There's been good stuff. There's been not good stuff. Right? But I'm here right now today. You know what the future's made of? You can write goals. That's great. Yes. And, as Sean would say, the future's made up of the steps I take today, right now. The future's made up of what you're doing right now. Everybody in this room is going to go accomplish a lot more than a lot of people. You know why? You've proved it because you're here. You paid money, and even if you got a free ticket from somebody, you paid way more important stuff than money. You paid time. The most precious resource we all have. We learned that lesson a lot more this last year too, right? Where am I spending my time? Whether it's about business, making money, making impact, or whether it's about relaxing, living some life, making a difference, what is that about? So I would suggest all of you think about this brilliant question, because there are no accidents when they're, stubbing my toes is an accident, I don't know. But the bigger things, the people that you meet and the things that are said, it is magic, and we're in the magic valley, so that's fantastic. But when I challenge you guys as you're meeting people, say something about who you are, because you know what it does? Watch their face and their body language. Now, if they don't care, just stop talking, because it doesn't matter, You can tell. Like, if you start talking, people are like, right? They don't care. It's fine. They don't have to. It's not going to speak to everybody. But when you and I are having a conversation, right? And you can say, you know what I do? I help people with, a lot of people have this challenge, and I help them to make their home safer. I free up their time. I free up their mind so that they can go do more of the things that they want to do and not come home to a destroyed house. We're like, what in the world do you do? I'm a dog trainer, right? Because if they're still with you, then you have permission to go on. Then. Now, if they're like, cool, gotta go. Let them go, right? They're a prisoner of this conversation already, right? Let the hostage free, it's fine. But you can tell, like, the whole first thing that comes out of your mouth should take them from this to this, like psychologically. Should take them from, I'm a dog trainer. Oh, cool, right? It's not interesting. It's not inspiring. But when you tell me something about you, like, here, let's do this. Forget about the vehicle, because the vehicle's dog training. But you know what? You could do a bunch of stuff because you're smart and you're cute and you have a good heart. So that's nice, but that's second. So why don't we do this? I'm putting you on the spot, but I think you'll be okay. Have you guys heard of the elevator pitch? Which is the stupidest thing to call that, because do you ever get in an elevator and go, hi, my name is Sheli G, and I'm a speaker and a consultant and a life coach, and I know that you have dragons. You want me to help you slay with you, right? You don't do that in an elevator. That's weird. That's captive audience, but they need to choose in, right? At least ask them if they want to hear what you do. I don't know, you do you. But I call it a power pitch. Don't call it that unless it's powerful, though. Power pitch. But let's do this. You tell me the power pitch of your heart or your soul. Whatever word works for you, your spirit. Your power. So not like how you do it, but the essence underneath it. Did you see that? Did you guys hear that? Did you hear her? So she said, I have always loved animals, and I love rescuing animals. That was a key word in what she said, right? Did you hear her empathy? I'm a dog trainer. Okay, you get to teach them to shake hands, right? My journey started with rescuing animals. That is very near and dear to my heart. I bet you also rescue people occasionally too. Oh, yeah. That empathy, right? I care. I want to help. I'm going to bring my kindness, and then I also bring some knowledge in. I solve a problem. I get to help animals, and I get to help the human. And she starts crying. Right? Now, do you have a totally different experience of her? Now it's not, here's a salesperson, here's a sales pitch, here's a dog trainer. Now it's Natasha, the servant achiever with the ooey gooey heart that likes to rescue. She sees people that are in need, animals that are in need, and she says, what can I do to help? So different. So same thing with your website, same thing with your social media. It's like blah, 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 blah. Talk like you're talking to a friend. Tell people the real human words about what you do and why you do it. Does that make sense? That's what works. You know what's interesting about comedy when you get into it is the kind of comedy that just is the best comedy is just real life stuff that's relatable. I need to be able to bond with you. I need to relate with you. I need to see you as a person and not a sales pitch. Now we're connecting. Very good. Something else that bothers me, and it's hard, but I love working with people on this, is we do this thing. It's almost like false confidence, because a lot of people, we all have insecurities, right? We all have insecurities. But we're taught, live a fearless life, like we're taught this, confident thing. And so people speak with great command about things, right? You're in a circle, or even somebody's doing a live stream from their bathroom, and like, this is how you do it. Like there's one way. Well, this is how you do it. I remember being in a mastermind. You guys know what a mastermind is? It's like the power of the collective. You sit around the table with different people working on projects, businesses, goals, and you help give resources and ideas to the people because we can't think of it all in our own brains. We need each other. And so we were sitting around this mastermind, and this gal wanted a mastermind. She's like, I want to teach a class on vision boards. You guys know what vision boards are? Like you put up, there's lots of different kinds of ways to do it, but you might put a bunch of pictures on there of what, kind of like goals, but a visual representation of that. And then you put it up in a place like your bedroom or your closet, your bathroom, somewhere where you can see it every day and think about it and be like, yeah, this is what I'm going towards. Instead of thinking so much about all the obstacles in your way, and then you manifest the obstacles, like you lean into that instead of the thing. So the lady was like, yeah, I want to do vision board, classes, and I want to monetize that. And so, we go around the table, and somebody said to her, when we got to her turn to give the feedback, she was like, well, vision boards don't work. And I was thinking, okay. I got to be quiet till my turn. But it was hard because you know what I know? My experience, I'll just speak for myself. That's a great thing to do. Pro tip. Speak for you. Don't speak for everybody in the universe because it turns out we're all really different. Yeah, vision boards don't work. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, she's kind of crushing this gal's spirit. What I would say is my experience is vision boards do work. And I think there's some things you can do to where they have higher levels of efficacy, right? You could just have people slapping, pictures on a thing and drinking wine. And at the end, everybody's like, what did we even do? I don't know, but we laughed a lot. Well, good. You had fun and you laughed a lot. But for a vision board to work, you have to take it a little further. But we do this like I call it the truth with a capital T, right? Truth with a capital T. My truth needs to be everybody's truth. You have to grind. People that don't get up at 4 a.m. every day aren't going to be successful. Have you read these articles? So that just automatically eliminates everybody who's not a morning person, but man, they crush it at 1 a.m. They create, they crush it, it all comes together, right? So I think we have to be careful how we project our truths onto other people if we really want to be great leaders. Because somebody was talking about it this morning. Now my brain's getting soupy, but the difference in, Senate, the first talk, it was like the difference in motivation versus inspiration. Great leaders don't tell you their truth and want you to just adopt that, right? Great leaders go, what is it inside of you, Natasha, that makes your heart sappy, makes you tear up, makes you smile and go, oh, I love to rescue animals. So that led me to this journey of helping them. And, and then as you make money, you're probably giving back to these organizations, right? That's her. That's what inspires her. Now, that may not inspire you, but that's okay. It's finding what is it inside of someone else. So I like to say we got to be careful because we all have our baby truth. It's true for me. And so it is true. It's true for me. But it doesn't mean it's going to be true for you. That's why like some things that lead you down, point 1 to point 10 of this is how you do it. This is how you succeed. Well, I like it. You can learn from it, but you almost always have to iterate it because this human that succeeded this way isn't you. So you need to have permission to be where you are. I think that's part of leadership. And great leadership gets their own ego and their own experience out of the way. Like use your experience for what it brings you. But then be open to the possibility of possibilities because you've ever seen somebody do something a totally new way and you're like, whoa. And how many of us have been told that we're going to do something and like the people, even our loved ones around us go, that's not going to work. Right? Anybody had that or just me? Okay, good. I'm not alone. It always feels better to not be alone. I was going to do, the first year I did my conference, about 9 years ago, in Boise, and there wasn't a great venue at that time. They were all just so booked up, I had to rent the CenturyLink Arena in downtown Boise. Now, that's a crappy venue to do a women's conference at. We have men too, but it's called Women Ignite. But the men are all like, we love it, we're coming. I'm like, fantastic, let's go. And we did it at a hockey rink, right? And it's very cold, and it's tough, and it was still expensive. And I had some big-time naysayers. They were like, you're going to lose so much money. You are going to lose so much money. I'm like, thanks for the pep talk. Now, I like hearing different perspectives, though. I really do honor that. Tell me the strategic planning the way you see it. Tell me budgeting the way you see it. But really, talk to me about sponsors. Let's just get this sucker paid for, right? I mean, people were emphatic. And at first I was like, because actually I never wanted to do the conference. God told me to. That's a whole other story. But he really did. He was like, you need to do this. And I'm like, I don't really want to. And he's like, no, yeah, here's the deal. So then I was all in once I knew that was what I was supposed to do. And so it was frustrating to have people continue to say, you're gonna lose $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, because that's not a small amount of money, right? Turns out they were wrong. And the first year, I made $500. I worked for a year. I don't know what that equates to hourly, but I didn't run that equation because that's depressing. But here's the deal, though. People don't mean badly. I'm not putting down your loved ones or your friends. They're trying to look out for you, right? They're trying to be, but they're giving you their truth. But here's the thing. It makes sense. If you've got a vision or a download, whatever word works for you, you get nudged to do something and you know you're supposed to do it. The people around you, they don't need to buy into it. It's not their job. It's your job to be bought into it. It's your job. And if you got the vision, if you got the download or you got the conviction or whatever word you want to use that makes you comfortable, but you know what I mean? They didn't get that vision. They didn't have like this visceral moment or this, this big aha or they weren't in the mastermind where you figured out, yeah. They don't know what they don't know. So give them grace and then send them on their way and do the thing when you know that you know that you know. It's time to go do it. It's interesting because a lot of people, again, talking about the why. And I love that because I think when you're purpose-driven, when you know the essence underneath the thing about why you're doing the thing, it's different. It's kind of a self-regenerating model and all of that. Instead of just, ticking a time clock and getting an hourly. Sometimes we need those jobs, and they're great, and they can be chapters in our life. But sometimes if we want that long-term sustainable model, or we want to help others as leaders, again, it's finding what drives me from the inside out. And again, it's very different for different people. But the thing about the why is sometimes I'll get nudged to do something and I come to the point where I realize I'm supposed to do it, but I don't know why. What do I do then? Find your why. I'm looking for it. I know I'm supposed to do this. I don't even know why. But I know what. So when you can start with why, I think it's great. But again, that's kind of like this blanket statement, start with why. With Women Ignite with WeCon, this conference I do, I didn't know why for probably at least 6 months as I dove into it. I figured out why. All I knew to start with was what. So again, think about these isms and things people say in the books that you read. They're all great, but just remember it's somebody's opinion, it's somebody's experience, and then put in your own filter to that, right? Give yourself permission to do that critical thinking and think about it. Another thing I want to talk about with, communication, good leadership is constantly learning how to be a more effective communicator. And we hear that, but man, there's a lot to it. One word, right, can change the trajectory. We heard that earlier today. One word can change, like grind. What that means to somebody else, and they like it, it's motivating to me. I'm like, ew, if I never grind again, that's great, right? So there's something to knowing your audience, knowing just because it fires you up, it's not necessarily the same way for other people. Learning, what is it about this person? Do they lean into kind of strategic strengths or kind of left brain? They want a statistic. They want the data. They're like, people lie, but data doesn't, right? Is it a relational person where, like, I'm going to give her a hug after this because, like, I can feel her heart and not she's ooey gooey. I like that. I'm just going to, because I haven't hugged enough people in last year, right? What is it for them? Do they need to be inspired? Because, like, they already know what they need to do, and but they're just a little down, and you're like, man, I see it. I believe in you. I see you. I feel it, right? So what is it that they need? And communication's this funny animal. I just challenge you to dig into it deeper. Strengths Finders is an amazing, amazing tool. How many of you have done Strengths Finders, the Gallup assessment? Oh, my people. 40 years of research by the Gallup company. Fantastic tool for any kind of relationship, any kind of team, any kind of leader. There's so many uses for it. We don't have time today. You want to hire right? Use this tool. It's amazing. And there's 34 strengths, and we all have all of them. Isn't that good news? I'm not just a dog, or I'm not just a red. Like, I like this assessment out of all of them. I like this one because it's hearty, it's deep. Every personality type enjoys it because it really unpacks for you how you're wired and how to take that message out to the world, but also how do I, coincide with their message and what's important to them. It's really an amazing tool. But one of my favorite parts about this tool is it's not gender-based. Start to listen to our society and what we say about genders. So I'll give you guys a few examples, right? How many girls have been told, pull your big girl panties up? Let's go. Or, sometimes it's in this setting. Anybody work in corporate America, or have you worked in corporate America? Like, literally, women have been coached and told, don't go into his office and get a tear in your eye. You will never get that raise. We've been told this. What if I can't help it if a tear shows up in my eye? It's not like I'm calling it forth and summoning it. It's called emotions. We have them. We're human, right? We do the things, we feel the things. It's the way it works. It's not my plan. Don't talk to the maker about the plan. It's not my deal. But we do this with each other. We do this with men a lot too. We say, oh, well, men aren't very relational. Women are relational. Half the planet is men. Are you guys relational? You guys care about your families and your friends? Why have we done this? We also say this about men and boys. I think it's funny. They're like, well, boys will be boys. It's this weird blanket statement that's put out there when something weird happens. You're like, well, boys will be boys. I'm like, okay, and? Okay, this reminds me of a story. Can I tell you guys a story about my son? So my son is autistic, and he's been my greatest teacher ever. And thankfully, I have not killed him. And so we, because he can be hard. He's got sensory processing issues. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's where, like, all the senses are just on Technicolor, and super high intelligence, but emotional and social IQ is like, right? Like, he's years behind other people. We've had to do lots of therapy, lots of work with him, special programs at school when school's open. Oh, sorry, I digress. But he's this little red-headed. We're all just white as vampires, like we don't go get sunburned. We just combust in the sun. We're like, there was a human there now. It's just a little ashtray. But I was doing some work in Argentina, and I Skyped home. It was Skype then, not Zoom. That dates me. But I Skyped. It's true. And I Skyped home, and Trey's dad was like, yeah. He goes, Trey stole a chinchilla. Are any of you guys good with geography? Because I'm not. But I was in Argentina. I'm in South America. They're in Idaho, in Meridian. And he stole a chinchilla. I've never even seen a chinchilla in Idaho, you guys. And at first I think they're joking with me. And I'm like, yeah, all right. No, he stole a chinchilla. I'm like, what are you talking about? Where was the babysitter? She is henceforth fired, by the way. Apparently he escapes out of the house and he goes across the street to this massive apartment complex. I think there's like 500 units in this thing. So God only knows who's in these apartments, right? Some delightful people, I'm sure, and then, other people. Of course, I'm talking because my son, anyway, so I'll continue the story. So he's just trying doors to see if any doors are unlocked. And he finds one that's unlocked, and so he went in. As you do. And I know, I'm a bad mom. It's okay. And so he goes in, and there's no one home, but there's a little cute, fluffy chinchilla. And he's watched, any of your kids watch like Diego and Dora, and they're animal rescuers, Natasha. So he saw his cute little fuzzy creature all alone. He's like, I'm just going to rescue this little creature. So apparently my son should be yours, and I should have brought him, and you could have him. But he takes this chinchilla, and remember, flaming red hair, very white skin, broad daylight. Okay, back to the house. And so he's acting really funny, but the babysitter didn't see the chinchilla. And so then she called, Steve, and she's like, you better get home. Trey's acting really weird. And we all know when Trey acts weird, man, you should immediately call the police. I wish I was kidding, but actually he's gotten a lot better. But back then it was like, we were really close with the police. They knew us by name and stuff. But anyway, so he comes home and he's looking and, Trey won't tell me anything. And finally goes into the closet, and all of a sudden he sees this across the floor, but it wasn't like a bunny or a rat or a dog or a cat. It was like, what is happening? And so he catches fur ball and puts it in a box and realizes it's a chinchilla. So just then the doorbell rings, ding dong, and it's the police. And so he goes out front, and the police say, hello, Mr. Gartman, we need to talk about the situation, about your boy, because he's pretty much famous. Everybody knows Trey with his flaming red hair and his, vampire white skin. He didn't say that, but, and he's like, it's a problem, and they're out there talking, and Steve was saying, yeah, this autism, like his filters and his reality and fantasy get mixed up, and the cop's like, I know, right? And you know what, at the end of the day, boys will be boys. When I heard this story, I'm like, wait a minute. The whole thing, I'm like, wait a minute. But on that part, I'm like, wait a minute. What does that mean? Boys will be boys? Right? He escapes from home, runs away, breaking and entering into an apartment, steals a chinchilla. And by the way, I found out chinchillas cost a lot more than like a little bunny or something. That's an expensive situation right there. And then my favorite part, so he's talking to the cop, and all of a sudden, the babysitter runs out the front door. The dog ate the chinchilla! The dog ate the chinchilla! That was exactly how I responded. ¿Por qué? Like, ay. So now we have, right, running away, breaking and entering, theft, and murder. The boys will be boys. Why do we say these things? Why do we say these things that don't work? I think we just need to think about it. And I know the planet's on fire and there's all this debating and it's hard. And so, I don't want to get too political or too divisive, but I do think there's some good work that we can do in our communication, in our sayings, in the things we say to each other, in the isms, and in the, well, you ought to do this. Yeah. How about asking permission? Hey, are you wanting kind of to geek out about some advice, but you can take it or leave it. This is just my opinion, right? And that also lets the other person know they have permission. They don't have to feel bad if it doesn't fit for them. One final thing I want to talk about for just a minute is social media. So when I say social media, how does that make you feel? I know, right? You don't hear the cheering and the, because it's hard. It's exposure. It's all the best and the worst of humanity, right? And a lot of the worst, because we all watch the train wreck. Even though we get mad about the train wreck, we're like, it's just a poop show, but then we get on there and watch, right? And then we're like, I hate it, but I got to check my notifications. It's tough, but I want to encourage you, don't get off of social media. Unless you have to. If you have to for your mental health, totally different story. But bring your messages, bring your services, bring your light to social media. Light stamps out darkness. Darkness is so hard that it just makes us want to flee, and sometimes that's the right move. But I want to challenge you as leaders. How do you lead? Right? If the only people leading and the noisiest voices in the room and the strongest videos and posts are from the negative and the dark and the critics, how are we going to do this? Because social media is not going anywhere. It's doing this. Right? So I can't change that, but what can I do? I can bring my messages, my strategies, my hope, my message to the world. And that can be an international message on social media. Good news. Don't shrink back if you have the ability to speak truth. And just remember when you get on there and you're posting, whether it's your business or your personal page, because by the way, your personal page, if you own a business or you're a leader, is your other business page. People often watch your personal page much more, and they hire and fire based on all of that, and true. Because that's where people are so real. You can see what people are about, you can see what's going on, and I'm not saying be fake at all. Don't do the journal thing if you're willing to kind of not do that. But think about before you post, is this a gift or a grenade? Right? Everybody doesn't want to know all my problems because you got enough problems of your own. Doesn't mean I won't be real and talk to you about, man, I've been struggling with the school system this year. I don't generally believe in burning things down, but hey, I've had a couple moments where I was like, hey, maybe that, no, kidding. But I do get real, but I also bring people up and out. Give people some good news. Do we need good news? Right? I'm going to sing you a bar of a song, which was not part of my plan, but I'm going to leave you with this. Because I really feel like if we talk about leadership, we talk about serving, and the most fulfilled people I've ever met in my life, they serve. They give time, talent, treasure, or influence. They don't give it all away. They don't waste themselves because then they expire. But they create a sustainable model of both success and giving back. And I love that. And I want to challenge you. Don't let the world eat you up, right? Manage that. If you got to get off, get off. If you got to, we're smart. We know how to manage that stuff. Be healthy, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or get a coach or a friend or a mentor, somebody that can bring you along in that journey that's good at that or that you really trust in that area. But I just think about this song. I'm going to take a little sip of my orange, apple, pineapple, turmeric, and lemon juice. Wow, you guys are quiet. It's just when I took a drink of this earlier, I was like, wow, it's really spicy. It's next door if you want some. But this song keeps coming up in my mind, so I've just learned when that nudge is there, sometimes I just got to quickly obey that nudge before I could talk myself out of it. Ready? She's like, I don't know what you're going to do. There is a candle in every soul, some brightly burning, some dark and cold. There is a spirit who brings the fire, ignites your candle with all your faith. So carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn, and hold out your candle for all to see. Take your candle and go light your world. Take your candle and go light your world. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.